Hi, I'm Alpina Singh and welcome to Check Please. This is a show where regular people from all over Chicago recommend and review their favorite restaurants. So this is how the show works. Every week we have 3 guests. Each recommends his or her favorite spot, and the other 2 go to check them out to see what they think. This week, violin salesman Andrew McCone says his recommendation hits all the right notes. He says for a unique meal accompanied by a perfect pour, tap into his suggestion. But senior digital and social executive Leslie Pigney says even though the word's not out yet on her selection, she says for fresh fish and out-of-this-world omakase, you gotta join her at her splendid spot. But up first, new car delivery specialist Michael List says you can trade in all the places in town, but don't touch his old school favorite. He says for an awesome, authentic Italian meal, follow him to the heart of Italy and stop in at Bacchanalia.
Everything that comes out of our kitchen is cooked with perfection, made to order, especially made with love. All our food that comes out, God, it's delightful, tasteful. You're getting the taste of Italy without having to go 4,000 miles away. You can come to Chicago and come to Bacchanalia and get a great, authentic Italian meal.
We go by what my dad has taught us. Quality, quantity, consistency, and fair prices. My dad said you cannot go wrong.
All our recipes have been handed down from generation to generation, perfected by our parents, and of course even perfected by our chefs that we have now, which literally been here, God, since we've been here almost 39 years. They're like family to us.
It's great to have you. Nice to see you all. Delicious. The best part is that our customers have become friends, not only customers, and that's what it's all about.
So Michael, you said that Bacchanalia is the best. Tell us why you chose it.
Well, I love Bacchanalia. Originally, I stumbled upon Bacchanalia by going to a street festival and was down in that area and walked in there simply to go to the bathroom and said, we have to eat here. So went back there about a month later, sat down, and I felt like I was like in a scene from the movie The Godfather. It's so like old school, you know, kind of like the checkered tablecloth type of a feel. I've been there numerous times and had the same waitress every time I go there. You know, so I feel like it's got that personality and charm that you just don't see anymore, like with the big box type restaurants that everybody's going to.
I love that you always get the same server.
100%, and it's such a huge thing.
There's not a lot of restaurants that you do that with.
And you know, and I don't know if she really remembers who I am,
well, she
but
does
she
now.
makes me feel. Well, probably true.
I grew up in New York, so you know, when I first pulled even onto the block, it felt like I was in sort of Little Italy or Sheepshead Bay in New York, and I thought, you know, everything about it was just like some of my Italian friends' grandmother's basement. You know, walking into the back, the way that the food was, we got big hellos when they walked in, and everyone just seemed really, really friendly. It was really a great vibe.
I loved the vibe as well. I was super friendly. I liked seeing all the tables pushed together. It looked like there were birthday celebrations going on. The food was great portion sizes. The quality of the ingredients was all in all really good. My only real complaint was just the fact that I wish the pasta could have been made fresh there. But all in all, the portion sizes were great. As I said, I had a delicious second dinner when I got home at 11 o'clock that night, even though I didn't think I could fit any more in me, but it was really,
it's like
really
going
good.
to grandma's house, right? And she gives you food to go.
Indeed, indeed. We started with an order of calamari, which I thought was absolutely excellent. It was nice and crispy. It wasn't chewy at all. The sauce that they served it with was a little bit sweet, but it actually worked really well. And then we got an antipasta plate, which was also very good. There were some pickled artichokes in there that I thought were excellent. We got the lasagna, which they're famous for, with the bechamel sauce. I got the eggplant and veal parmesan. My wife got the risotto special, which was a pleasant surprise too. It actually had blue cheese in there, which usually I think overpowers a risotto, but it was really balanced. And then another friend got the veal piccata.
We went with a big group, so we got to try a lot of different things. We got the gorgonzola gnocchi. We had, the baked clams, which were a standout, and I love those. I've struggled to find a place in Chicago that makes great baked clams, and so I would go back for that. Also, the shrimp cocktail. I don't know if you guys have had it.
I've had that,
but
yeah.
it's some of the best shrimp cocktail I've ever had. It's sort of not a traditional presentation with the shrimp hanging off the glass. It's done in sort of a lemon juice, olive oil, garlic. That was by far the biggest hit of the table. We got the steak Vesuvio because they had like a Vesuvio topping special. And I'm very picky about my steaks now that I've moved to Chicago. So I didn't think it was on the par of some of the great steaks. But if you went there with a steak eater, I think that they would be pleasantly surprised by how well they executed the steak.
So, Michael, I have to ask, name a menu item at Bacchanalia that if they took it off, there would be a riot.
The baked clams. I totally love the baked clams and be able to enjoy the clams with a glass of wine and relax and not get rushed because, I don't ever feel like when I'm there that I'm being rushed to get to the next entree.
Bacchanalia's been there for, oh my gosh, almost 40 years. Do you feel like sometimes, we focus too much on the trendier restaurants, that there's all these restaurants that have been there for years and years and years? And by doing so, what are we missing?
I think you're missing the true, not a family style, but family type recipes.
And I think a sense of tradition as well.
Yes,
like this recipe's been handed down, handed down, handed down.
Right.
Their chicken parmesan, it was some of the best I've ever had.
Yeah, the chicken parmesan is one of my favorites.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Good. It's really good.
I mean, it's so tender and juicy. Yeah, absolutely.
And it was, very traditionally prepared, very old school, not a lot of, farm to table cheeses. And there was something really refreshing about going to a place where it was obvious it was just about the hospitality and the food and the vibe and not sort of making sure you check all the boxes of what it is to have a trendy restaurant.
Have you tried any desserts?
I had the tiramisu, and it was excellent. It was probably the booziest tiramisu I've ever had in my life, too. But there were no complaints whatsoever. It was really, really good. It was excellent. And we also had a cannoli, which was also very, very good.
We had the cannoli and thought it was great. One of the better cannolis I've had.
All right, Michael, you picked Bacchanalia. Sum it up for us.
Great restaurant at a great price with an old school feel. Love it for special occasions.
Andrew?
It's a nostalgic place that the nostalgia comes all the way through the food and the atmosphere. If you're in the neighborhood and want to see a piece of old Chicago, it's a good place to go.
And Leslie?
A little bit of an off the beaten path gem, rustic in its style, but good food, good portions, good time.
All right, well, you can try the pasta and more at Bacchanalia, 2413 South Oakley Avenue, 773-254-6555. They're open daily, reservations are accepted, and the average tab per person without drinks is $17. Craft beer scene has taken Chicago by storm, but Andrew McCone says his hip hangout has much more than hops. He says for elevated cuisine with a fantastic flight, follow him to Half Acre Balmoral Tap Room.
Half Acre has been a beer company for about 10 years, but we've only dipped our toes into food for about 3 or 4 years. Here at Balmoral, our second of 2 kitchens, it's a very eclectic, very, depending on what day of the week you come in, you might have a different menu. But, the sort of overarching theme is that we like to make just kind of simple, very comforting, kind of Midwest foods. We weren't sure what direction we wanted to go, but we knew we didn't just want to be chicken sandwiches and side of French fries type place. It's such a relative thing when it comes to pairing beers with food that, you know, if you don't like dark beers, we're not going to push a dark beer on you because that's a pairing we like. It's always heartwarming to hear somebody's pleasantly surprised with the caliber of food that we do. That's what we're really shooting for.
So Andrew, you say that Half Acre has it all. Tell us why you chose it.
Well, Half Acre is one of the first craft breweries I ever experienced when I first moved to Chicago. They've always kind of been at the front end of new beer. And when they opened this Half Acre tap room at Balmoral, I was a little bit suspect, not thinking that I would get too much of a good meal. But I've been there tens of times, and every time I go, I get a great meal, a great pint, and a great atmosphere too.
So I want to ask about that skepticism. You know, why were you skeptical that a beer tap room can't have good food?
Most tap rooms I've been to either have a folder full of takeout menus that you can order from, or maybe a food truck that pulls up, or burritos slung in the back or something like that. But it seems like Half Acre has really taken the time to develop a menu that will have people come there for the food, not just the beer itself. The first thing I noticed is when you walk in, the kitchen is the first thing that you see when you walk through the front door.
And they've brought on a chef with pedigree. We have Nick Lacasse, who was at the drawing room, got wonderful accolades at MFK, was on a Bravo TV show. So I think they're, saying we want to take the food seriously as we do the beer.
Absolutely.
All right, Michael, you a fan of Half Acre?
Well, I like the food at Half Acre. We started out a little bit rough because we went down for Sunday morning brunch. And it turned out that that day, the night before, they had some type of a party, so they didn't open up until 11 o'clock. So we ended up waiting around a little bit, walking in the neighborhood, and finally at about 11:15, they opened up. So we did have a flight of beer each, and that was delicious. The beer was really, really good, obviously.
Can't get any fresher.
No, right, exactly, yeah. The beer, not a problem. It was a very limited menu that day, which we were definitely disappointed in the limited menu. And when we did get the food, it was a taco-based menu that day. And
Interesting. For brunch?
For brunch,
Okay.
yes. Okay.
'Cause we went for brunch as well and had a full menu.
Okay.
Yeah.
We felt like we didn't have the opportunity to really see what they were offering overall. But
so I just want to make sure that, okay, so you went at 10 o'clock.
Correct.
They said, we're not going to open until 11.
Correct.
Did they apologize? Did they explain, like, come back, here's my card, I'm so sorry?
I don't want to get nitpicky or anything, but they didn't necessarily apologize. The guy just kind of walked by us and said, we're not opening until 11 today. We had an event last night.
All right, Leslie, what'd you think?
So we went with a very large group. Everybody from a newborn. We brought a 6-week-old baby. We also went for brunch. I know it seems antithetical to bring a baby to a brew pub, but that's how we roll. So we had a big group, and it was great because we got to basically try everything on the menu. So I specifically ordered the trout roulets, or roulets, I guess, which were great. But we also had the chicken liver dip, which was really good. We had the egg sandwich. We got an order of the French toast. We had the raspberry bread pudding. We got
Just looking at Michael.
I'm like, Leslie, what was going on here? I had tacos.
We got the porchetta sandwich. We got an egg sandwich, and we had the flights of beer. So our experience was actually could be
Sucks
almost.
to be you.
Our experience was probably the exact opposite. We had great service. The staff was really attentive. They sort of made sure beers were never below like halfway before they were like, "Do you want something else?"
There's really no excuse.
There is no excuse. There is no excuse. It's right there.
Did you get to see like the brewery?
Well, that's actually one of the coolest things is, I'm into sort of how things are made. And so when you go to the bathroom, you walk through their sort of warehouse, and you can see Daisy Cutter IPA for as far as the eye can see.
What are some of your favorite items that you've eaten there?
I really like their bowl of noodles, their ramen with that porchetta, and my wife always gets the porchetta sandwich, which is excellent, but I've also had their full brunch menu too. Their frittata is really good, and they actually use that bread pudding for dessert during the weekend too, which works well for dessert and a little sweet brunch. But I've had their spare ribs, which are also excellent. Last time I went, I had a Greek-style panzanella salad with some anchovies, which was also really good. But
Yeah, so I mean, very creative food.
yeah.
At the end of the day, you know, the food that we did get to eat was very good quality. You know, the tacos were good. I was disappointed that we didn't, you know, weren't able to enjoy any type of dessert because I wanted to get the full feel. But yeah, the food that we did eat was definitely good.
All right, Andrew, you chose Half Acre. Sum it up for us.
I think it's a great place to have a great beer and a fantastic meal. It's in a wonderful neighborhood, and you really can't go wrong.
Michael?
I would have to say, you know, that, you know, Half Acre probably has an interesting feel to it. I wish I would have gotten to see a little bit more of the menu, and maybe we'll give it another try.
And Leslie?
Definitely an interesting place, not your traditional brew pub. You know, great neighborhood, great food, great beer.
Well, you can judge for yourself at Half Acre Balmoral Tap Room, 2050 West Balmoral Avenue, 773-754-8488. We're open Tuesday through Thursday and all day Friday through Sunday. Reservations are not accepted, and the average tab per person, excluding drinks, is $20. Leslie Pinkney knows there's sushi spots all over the city, but she says for the most unforgettable sashimi and mouth-watering maki in town, head on over to Lincoln Park and join her at Naomi.
So this is Japanese restaurant, but our restaurant is more focused for the, let's say, fish. I think people eat from eye also, not only from the mouth. Visual is very important. When guests stop by, they say, "Hey chef, thank you very much, it was very good," you know. When I heard that kind of word, then I always feel, oh, great, you know, I'm doing such a great job, that's what I feel. Since when I started this industry, someday I want to have my own restaurant. So it's kind of a dream come true, yeah.
So Leslie, you say that Naomi is #1. Tell us why you chose it.
So I love sushi. About a year and a half ago, I sort of heard through the grapevine that the sushi guy from Let Us Entertain You was sort of opening up a small sushi place. And so we immediately made reservations and called and found out that they had omakase, and we went in and was just blown away by how fresh the fish was, the attention to detail, the vibe of the space, you know, the little mystery, the hidden sort of gem.
We use hidden gem a lot on this show. This is literally hidden.
Yeah. You know, it's in Lincoln Park right near the conservatory, and so you walk in and they have like just a little host stand. You check in and you didn't sort of know where you were going, and then you walk through the kitchen to actually get to the dining room. Yeah, so it, you know, it sort of gives you a little mystery. You're not really sure what to expect, and it sort of opens up into this room that feels like you could be in one of the trendiest New York City lounges. Our first visit, I asked them what music they were playing, and it's this 90s hip hop and R&B playlist, and so you can go in there and hear Biggie Smalls, or, you know, which makes it even better for me. It's like my type of music, my type of food.
So you feel at home there.
Yeah, I feel at home there.
They were kind of like playing like an '80s classic rock or something like that, which you know, I thought interesting for the atmosphere that it was, you know, but it wasn't a bad thing. It was just interesting, you know.
So Andrew, had you heard of Naoki before?
I had not. A big sushi fan, but I had never heard of Naoki. I'm kind of conflicted by the price point for what I got. We tried a lot of food. The portion sizes were to be expected for sushi. It was a little bit more expensive than I'm usually comfortable spending for sushi. It was really, really good. I had some dishes I had never tried before. I thought the flavors were all on point. My biggest complaint of all was that on the maki rolls, the texture of the rice was a little bit off to me. When I ate any piece of maki, the rice fell apart in my mouth immediately, and I could feel all the individual grains, which I'm not a sushi expert, but I knew I wasn't a fan of that. Ironically enough, the best thing I probably had there was the fried chicken special that he had that night, which was excellent.
I also absolutely loved the fried chicken. We ordered the fried chicken as an appetizer, and it came in a bucket of chicken with Japanese newspaper inside there.
Yeah, it's funny. I've actually never had the fried chicken. It's something that I've been wanting to try, but it's really hard for us to move away from omakase, where, you know...
What is omakase?
So basically, it's sort of like the Japanese equivalent of a tasting menu.
You let Chef Naoki just cook for you.
Just cook for you. You just sit down. We're in the chef's hands, and you just sit at the
I
bar.
knew they had done that.
And I mean, it's pricey.
Yes.
It's definitely pricey, but if you like the freshest raw fish in Chicago and you got some money in your pocket to burn, it's definitely a great experience for true sushi lovers.
I am not somebody that normally would go seek out sushi necessarily. I have to have a taste for it, and then I will. But I thought that the quality of the sushi was really good. I thought the quality of all the food was really good. The dessert was, what do we call that?
Mochi.
Mochi was delicious.
So Leslie, what does Naoki do that finally brings it home for you of like, this is what I've been waiting for?
The fish is really the premium. You know, you see him back there, especially when you sit at the bar. For omakase, the fish is dressed with his own personal sauces. You know, it's recipes that are off the menu. His literal attention to detail, like, I bought this fish this morning.
You're getting the story
with
it.
I think we missed that. I mean, we got the chef's selection sashimi as well, which was 10 pieces of sashimi that were very good, but there wasn't really any emphasis on how fresh and special the fish was. Cocktails that were really innovative.
Yeah, the cocktails are great. The cocktails
I had a miso old fashioned, which was
fantastic. Say that again.
A miso old fashioned.
I know, right? It's great. It's great.
I know. It was really something special.
We had the sake flight. It was great.
Did you get the cans of sake?
No.
Or, oh, okay.
No.
Just the...
My wife got the sake flight too and really liked it.
Yeah,
so.
it was really, really good.
Andrew, would you go back?
I would go back for the omakase now that you recommend it so highly. I mean, I think if you're raving about it that much, it's something that I would save up a couple of pennies for and try again.
Leslie, you chose Naoki. Sum it up for us.
A true hidden gem in Lincoln Park that serves the freshest and most innovative sushi in Chicago.
Andrew?
A great experience, although a bit pricey. Interesting combinations of food and fresh fish.
And Michael?
I definitely would recommend it to anybody that was in the city looking for a really good sushi place, good quality food, love the fried chicken, love the sake. Definitely recommend it.
Well, you can taste the sashimi and much more at Naoki, 2300 North Lincoln Park West, 773-868-0002. Reservations are accepted, and they're open daily for dinner. The average tab per person without drinks is $60. So in this week's show, we featured Bacchanalia in the heart of Chicago, Half Acre's Balmoral Tap Room in Bowmanville, and Naoki in Lincoln Park. Let's recap what our guests had to say. First, we strolled down Oakley and rolled into Bacchanalia. Michael recommends it for the old school personality and familiar flavor. Andrew loved the nostalgic feel and the delicious food. Leslie said the homey atmosphere and good food took her right back to Little Italy. Next, we went to Balmoral Avenue and made it to Half Acre. Andrew recommends it for a good meal, a great beer, and a fun atmosphere. Michael had a rough start with a limited menu and late opening. Leslie appreciated the attentive service and the adventurous menu. lastly, we headed to Lincoln Park and stopped in at Naomi Sushi. Leslie recommends it for the great attention to detail and the freshest ingredients. Andrew enjoyed the creative cocktails, but thought the maki was a miss. Michael appreciated the high-quality food and the delicious fried chicken. We've had just a wonderful time this week, and I'd like to thank my guests, Michael Liss, Andrew McCone, and Leslie Pickney. Join us next week for 3 new guests recommending 3 of their favorite restaurants right here on Check Please. I'm Alpina Singh, and I'll see you then. Cheers.
For more information about the restaurants featured on Check Please, go to WTTW.com/checkplease.